We have some pretty big news from the NHL waiver wire and a few signings to discuss as well. We'll jump into that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have some pretty big news on the NHL waiver wire today. Before we jump into the waivers news, though, we have a couple of quick signings and a quick note on the NHL's COVID list. The Boston Bruins are about to get back Brad Marchand. Apparently, he's coming off the COVID list, and apparently he was having a false positive test is what caused him to end up on it. So really no major cause for concern there at all. Once he was retested, come out negative, he's all good to go. So good news there. For Boston, of course, I'm sure the Montreal Canadiens are excited to be able to get back to playing here as well after having about a week off after some COVID issues of their own. But considering what the Montreal went through, though, and their one confirmed case was that one of the variants that they say is more transmissible, they were able to get it contained, shut things down quickly, and they didn't have any other positive tests. I mean, Kotkaniemi's already been off the COVID list as well, so certainly things will be interesting to see how they play after all that extended break. Now, a couple of signings to discuss here today. The Columbus Blue Jackets have signed prospect Tyler Angle to his 3-year entry-level contract. Angle's a 20-year-old center prospect who was a 7th-round pick in 2019, 212 overall. I mean, not too many 7th-round picks make it to the NHL. I mean, obviously, he's not a full-time player as of yet, so he's got a ways to go. But there's many that don't even get contracts. So this is certainly a big step, especially considering we're not even a full 2 years removed from that draft. So that's a big step for him. He's already played some American Hockey League games this year. I do believe he was there on like an amateur tryout type of game because his junior league wasn't up and going. So obviously Angle gets his 3-year ELC now. That'll kick in for next season. So that's good news for him. The Vegas Golden Knights have signed 2018 6th-round pick the left shot defenseman Peter DeLibertor to his 3-year entry-level contract here as well. He's played the last 3 seasons of U.S. college hockey at Quinnipiac University, so he comes out of college hockey and will officially be turning pro with the Vegas organization. So a couple of late-round picks get signed there, so just goes to show you that you have to be persistent, keep working hard, and anything can happen. As I said, they have a ways to go before they're proven regular NHL players, but a lot of them don't even make it as far as these guys already have. Now, as I mentioned, we have some pretty significant news on the NHL waiver wire here today. Now, of course, we had a couple of decent names on the waiver wire yesterday. They've both cleared. So in case you don't remember who was on waivers yesterday, that included Ottawa Senators center iceman Artem Anisimov. Now, we didn't expect him to get picked up because he comes with a decent price tag. He's a pending UFA, but hasn't played a lot. I really wasn't suspecting he would get picked up. But left shot defenseman for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Scott Harrington, I thought maybe he would get picked up. He's, but I would say a decent third pair or 6-7 guy, but he has cleared waivers as well and will remain as a member of the Blue Jackets organization. So those guys are not going anywhere. But the bigger news came from who's on waivers here today. Now, of course, it starts with a big name in Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Shayne Gostisbehere. Now, many of us were quite surprised, I think, to see Gostisbehere on waivers. It's no secret that he hasn't really put up the greatest results and played the greatest over the past year or two. His numbers have been down. His play's down. I mean, he went through some injuries as well. Kind of fallen out of favor in Philly. And there's been a long rumor mill here for him that he's been talked about several times in the trade market, and it very well could end up on the move. Now, many feel that this very well could be the beginning of the Flyers working on something more significant here, that they're looking for some flexibility and some cap space, and that there could be a more significant shakeup coming within the Flyers organization. We know we've seen some embarrassing blowout losses recently to the New York Rangers. They did win last night against Buffalo, but man, they almost blew it. They were losing 3-0 to the Sabres, had a third period comeback and an overtime win, but still, I don't know. I think it might be a little bit late for, kind of getting things back on track here. The Flyers are just needing to make some changes. And there are reports out there, including Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period, and others, saying that they're hearing rumors and rumblings that the Flyers are working on something more significant here. They've been linked to some of the players with the Predators that have been rumored to be available. They've also been rumored to be in on Jack Eichel. Now, I'm not going to say that there's a Jack Eichel trade, getting close to happening or anything. I don't know about that, but I know that those are the rumors that we've heard in the past. So we'll see what they do, but could we see something more significant, whether it be Gostisbehere be claimed? Maybe he will be more likely to be traded after he clears waivers. We saw that the other day here. Christian Wolanin cleared waivers and then was traded after. A lot of times teams will be interested, but they need the other team to take something off their hands to make it work. So that's, maybe a possibility as well. And then, like I said, there is talk that the Flyers could be working on something more significant. So we'll have to see. Let me know, do you think Shayne Gostisbehere gets claimed? I mean, you have to think that there's a few teams out there that it almost seems like a no-brainer to give him a chance. I mean, he still has 2 more years on his contract, comes with a cap hit at $4.5 million. His actual pay the next 2 years is only $3.25 million now. So if there's teams out there that can take the hit but are a little bit more adverse to actual cash going out, that's a bit of a help that way. He's still only 27 years old, and I think with a change of scenery and some work and help from a different style of coaching, that maybe they could change and get things back on track. I mean, some people say his game fell right off and that he's kind of washed up compared to what he was when he first came to the NHL, but you can't think that he suddenly forgot how to play hockey. I know injuries take a toll on the body and can impact your abilities, but I don't know. I think he can be rehabilitated myself with a fresh start in some different coaching and, just kind of get him back on track. So a team like the Bruins, who I know have, been rumored to be looking at that left side of their blue line, could grab him for nothing. And you know what? A team like Boston also could turn around and expose them in the Seattle expansion draft. So they could get a good season and get a trial, see how things go. And if they're not real thrilled, then they can put him on the available list for expansion draft. I mean, there's other teams out there as well. I don't know. I think there's a decent chance he gets claimed, but I think a lot of teams are going to be scared off by the fact that he still has 2 more years and hasn't had the best results lately. So I think it's more likely, probably slightly more like a 60-40 that he clears, and then maybe a trade does take place in the not too distant future, but we'll see what the Flyers are working on. Now, we also have the Vegas Golden Knights with left defenseman Nick Holden on waivers. I mean, Holden's bounced around a lot through his career. I think the Vegas Golden Knights here are probably just looking for some more flexibility. He's played in 13 games this year, has 1 assist, has kind of become a spare part for them. A lot of the other younger guys have picked up a lot of the playing time over him, so I'm not really sure what happens with Holden. He could be a decent depth piece. He's still making 1.7 though for another year, so that might not be favorable in his case as well. So he could clearing as well. And then you get Liam O'Brien of the Colorado Avalanche is also on waivers, the 3rd player. So we got 3 guys on waivers. 2 guys from yesterday cleared, but today's waivers news is certainly a lot more significant than we've seen here in a little while. So certainly going to be very interesting to see if we have any claims. We'll find out at noon Eastern time tomorrow. And of course, as I mentioned, the Flyers are rumored to be working on something big, so we'll be back and talk about that further once we have a little bit more information. So stay tuned. Let me know your thoughts on what happens here with these players today, and we'll talk about it further in the comments. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.